You ever notice how people always say money talks, but sometimes all it does is get you accused of something you didn't do? Yeah, that happened to me. I was 13, thought I was doing everything right, just a regular Tuesday, when the universe decides to teach you a lesson you'll never forget. Let me back up a sec. My name's Jessica Williams, and on that day, all I wanted was to open my first checking account, show my mom I could handle a little independence. I'd planned for weeks, researched online, practiced what I'd say, even rehearsed my confident young lady walk in front of the mirror. I'd saved up $800 from birthdays and chores, had my documents in my backpack, and I took the bus to First National downtown, feeling like I was finally stepping into adulthood. What I didn't know, standing at that counter, was how quickly the ground can shift under your feet and how people can look right through you, see only what they expect to see. The lobby was buzzing, suits everywhere, old folks sipping bank coffee in the VIP section, that low hum of money moving from hand to hand. I smoothed my uniform, took a deep breath, and walked right up to the counter, smiling like I'd been taught. The nameplate said Jennifer Adams. She looked up, and something just shifted in her face, all the warmth drained out, replaced by a cold suspicion I couldn't quite place. "What do you want?" she snapped, like I was bothering her. Still, I pushed on, kept my voice steady. "Hi, I'd like to open my first checking account, please." Her laugh was sharp, not friendly at all. "This is a real bank, not a community center. We don't just hand out accounts to every kid who wanders in." 13, huh? That cash from selling drugs? Or just stealing? My stomach dropped. "Kids like you." That phrase echoed, and suddenly I was painfully aware of what she was really saying. I tried explaining Westfield prep, birthday money, my grandmother's card right here, see? But it didn't matter. She rolled her eyes, said I probably stole the uniform too, and hit the phone. "Sharon, get to window 3. We got one of those urban kids here trying to scam us." The words stung. She made it sound like I was some kind of criminal just for having a little cash and brown skin. The bank manager, Sharon Mitchell, arrived like she'd just been briefed for battle. Her first words? "Shouldn't you be in school?" Not a hello, not even a glance at my paperwork. I pulled out my signed permission slip, my savings account statement, even the birthday card from Grandma. Sharon barely looked at any of it. "That's a lot of cash for someone your age. Where'd you get it?" Her voice was ice cold. I could feel my hands shaking as I answered, but she was already building a case against me in her head. "Grandmothers don't give $800 in cash," she said, like she knew everything about me. In another world, across town in a boardroom that smelled like mahogany and money, my mom, Dr. Angela Rodriguez Williams, was closing a deal worth more than my whole school's annual budget. She'd always wanted me to grow up humble, not spoiled, so I never really knew the extent of our wealth. She hid our last name, sent me to school on the bus, made sure I did chores for allowance. I thought we were comfortable, not billionaires. She did it so I grow up knowing how to work, not just spend. But back in the bank, I was realizing for the first time how fragile that safe bubble really was. I kept pleading, "Please call my mom. She banks here too. Her name's Angela Williams," but Sharon wasn't having it. "Nice try. You're not calling anyone until we figure out where you got this money. For all I know, you're working for adults who send kids in because they seem less suspicious." She never even bothered to check my mom's name in the system. By now, the other customers were staring, some looking uncomfortable, but nobody said a word. You know what I mean? The kind of silence where everyone feels something's off, but nobody wants to get involved. Here's the twist, and it still makes me shake my head. Sharon was about to call the police on me, the granddaughter of the man who helped build that very bank. But to her, I was just another suspicious urban kid. I tried one last time. "Please, I just want to call my mom. She can explain." And that's when she dropped her voice and hissed, "Your mom probably sent you here to launder drug money." I've seen this before with people like you. I felt like I'd been punched. Tears spilled down my cheeks. I was 13, terrified, and suddenly aware that some people will hate you before you even open your mouth. Sharon dialed 911. "We need officers immediately. I have a young thief trying to deposit stolen money." While she talked, I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and texted my mom, my fingers trembling so hard I could barely hit send. "Mom, I'm at First National. The manager called the cops on me. Says I stole the money. I'm scared." Sharon saw what I was doing, tried to grab my phone, but it was too late. The message was already on its way to a skyscraper full of bankers who knew exactly who my mom was. Within minutes, 2 police officers arrived. They never even looked at my documents. "We get calls about kids like this all the time," one of them said, not even trying to hide his assumption. "Turn around, put your hands behind your back." Click handcuffs on a sobbing 13-year-old girl. The lobby went silent, except for a few gasps. Some folks filmed on their phones, but nobody stepped in. "You can explain your story down at the station," the officer said. I was learning in real time that being right, being polite, even having all your paperwork in order means nothing when people have already made up their minds. But if you think that's where my story ends, you don't know my mother. As soon as she got my text, that calm, collected businesswoman turned into a force of nature. She called her attorney, her head of security, and the chairman of the bank's board, all while her driver sped her toward First National like they were running an emergency. By the time she arrived, I heard later she walked into that bank like she owned the place because, well, her family kind of did. She marched straight up to Sharon and said, in this voice that was low and terrifyingly calm, "Release my daughter." Immediately. Sharon sneered at first, tried to bluff, until my mom handed her a business card so heavy it felt like a gold bar. "I'm Dr. Angela Rodriguez Williams. We don't just bank here, Sharon. We own here." That's when Sharon's face lost all color. When the chairman himself, Mr. Morrison, rushed in and called my mom by her first name in front of everyone, it was like someone flipped a switch in the room. Suddenly everyone understood just how badly Sharon had messed up. Security pulled up footage. There was me, polite and nervous, offering every bit of ID I had. There was Sharon, hostile from the first second. Then they checked other footage, other customers of color getting grilled, asked for extra documents, treated like suspects. The evidence was all there, on tape. The bank's chairman ordered an immediate investigation and fired Sharon on the spot. "You stole her innocence," my mom told her. "You taught a 13-year-old that some people will always judge her by her skin, not her character." Sharon was escorted out, her career in ruins. Meanwhile, the story exploded. The police officers who cuffed me got suspended. The bank rewrote all its customer service policies, mandatory bias training, youth advocates, new protocols, so no kid ever has to go through what I did. My family's foundation launched a program to help kids know their rights in banks. And me? I spoke at schools, youth groups, told my story not as a victim, but as someone who could make change. My mom finally explained our family's wealth, the reason for her secrecy, the responsibility that comes with power. 3 months later, I went back to that same bank, walked right in, and opened my account. No drama, just respect and a promise to myself that I'd never let anyone treat another kid that way if I could help it. Sharon Mitchell became a cautionary tale, and bias training everywhere a reminder that prejudice isn't just wrong, it's expensive, and it can cost you everything. And now I gotta ask, have you ever been judged for something you didn't do, just because of how you look? What would you have done in my shoes or my mom's? Drop your thoughts below, because this isn't just my story. It's a call for all of us to speak up when we see injustice, and to make sure the next kid who walks into a bank is seen for who they really are.